Hey, peoples. Thursday, October 6th. Excuse me. It's a little granola left. I got some granola in there. October 6th, 2022. 33 days left till the midterms that may not even happen. Hope you're doing well. We have sunshine here for the first time in about 5 days. I'm not complaining at all because my grass now it's like a jungle. But it's nice to see sunshine. There is something to for lack of a better term, the algorithms of weather. And I guess there's even a condition. If it's too gray or rainy, some people actually get depressed from it. And that makes total sense. I mean, now this is not a condition like Joe Biden has, which that's stupidity, but it's a different. So I just hope it's sunny where you are, if that's what you're hoping for. Oh my God, I can't. Oh, I am so sorry. This has never happened before. My banana has never been in the shot. I feel kind of like Jeffrey Toobin. I can only imagine how he must have felt. Sorry about that. I put whatever I need to do or pick up before I start the show. I always put on this shelf. You know, a watch, a ring, a banana, coffee, whatever. Sorry. Anyway, I hope that doesn't deter you from today's report. Let's get right into it. There's something very exciting. Well, before we go to the very exciting, I want to show you something that I sometimes forget to plug, okay? My socials. You can follow me. You can comment on Gab. You can do the same on Twitter. You can do the same on Truth Social. You can do the same on Getter. You can also follow random videos. This is random in our graphics department. This is what we use as random. Okay. You can follow those random reports and videos and commentaries that occasionally pop up for free on Twitter, Brighteon, or Rumble. So these are all different ways you can troll me, support me, or occasionally threaten my life. And then the new phone number is coming hopefully tomorrow. I mean, we have it. There's a couple things I want to put into place. Because with 13 listeners, I wouldn't be surprised if the first day we put the number out, I get like 4 calls in a row and 4 messages in a row. And that's going to overwhelm me as the audience is just growing at this point. Anyway, so very quickly, speaking of social media, I want to jump over to one of my faves, Gab. Gab.com/Ken Matthews. You can follow me here. And on Thursdays, we do kind of an educational thing. And this is for a lot of your liberal friends. I just realized that liberal also begins with the letter L. And I forgot to put that in there. But today's letter is the letter L. Because we know there's a lot of people in the Democrat Party, especially in leadership, that they don't read much and I'm not making fun of people that don't know how to read. But if you're a congresswoman or a senator, you should know how, I think. Now, I'm not saying this woman does not know how to read. Oh, she can read just fine. But today's letter is L. Letitia James. L. Liar, leftist, laughable, Letitia. And here she is. And we have 5 replies and 57 thumbs up and this funny zipper face, whatever that is. So that's just, I wanted to show, because some people, the part of the pushback that I feel, no, I don't feel it personally, but people give it to me when I say, hey, have you checked out Rumble? Rumble, I heard about it, but, I don't know. I don't know. It's something different. Okay? But don't let an unknown platform frighten you if you're getting solid recommendations from people you trust. So I didn't think I'd open the show today with the social media commentary, but I want to because I get this all the time. People say, well, I think I'm going to subscribe to you next month. Let me check my budget. And someone told me, don't even mention that. Well, no, it's $10 a month and it's all my content unlimited. And I do the Ken Matthews Report every day. Sometimes I do 3 or 4 reports, but there's always at least 2 on the weekdays, at least 1 on the weekends. So it's 7 days a week I'm doing content, and it works out to about 35 cents a day. But at the end of the day, it's $10 a month. So sometimes people, and I understand completely, that is a chunk of their budget. So, you know, if you have to get rid of the New York Times or cable or, you know, the Huffington Post, please do. Anyway, so I bring that up because when people say that to me, I say, well, you know, you can also follow all my content, not the video content, because the subscribe star content is exclusive to my subscribers, and God bless you all for keeping this alive. Technically keeping me alive. I guess it depends how the food supply goes in the fall. So, just to give you a quick example, let me just scroll down on Gab a little bit here. Little Gab action. Trump versus Clinton 2024. It looks like it may happen. We had a confirmation on Newsmax earlier today from, Dick Morris, I think it was. Well, I can't impersonate Dick Morris. Anyway. So who knows? Here's the thing. The fact that Hillary Clinton, she's, what is she, a 2-time or 3-time loser? I'm not sure. But the fact that this old, lying, independently wealthy criminal windbag thinks she could get elected in 2024, and I'm not sure, how old is she going to be in 2020? She'll be 97 in 2024. Hillary Clinton, that's using Common Core math. Using Common Core math, Hillary Clinton will be 97 years old in 2024. But she's a pathological liar. She's a leftist. She's a Trump hater. She's a deplorable hater. But she's arrogant enough. This is what is so fascinating about the left. It's just like when Joe Biden says, you know, he's going to run again. How arrogant do you have to be? Holy moly. All right, let's see. This is a fun little thing, a DNA test to prove Justin Trudeau is the son of Fidel Castro. That's a fun little ditty. And that's been going around online for a long time. And believe it or not, there's some compelling evidence that may prove that, but who knows? This, I don't know if you saw that John Fetterman wants to ban ownership of rifles now. And I call him Fetterwoman because he has a pink shirt. Because Democrats, again, they're just a cliche at this point. They think, well, women love pink. So they make a pink shirt, put Fetterwoman instead of Fetterman. Whose idea was that? Anyway. So that's some of the stuff on my Gab page. So I wanted to invite you to follow me on Gab. Oh, did I even scroll down on that? Let me just put that back. Sorry. So that's that. But the whole point of me mentioning this was I still run into people and they say, you know, I Googled this thing. I Googled what you did on the show on Monday, and I can't find that article you were talking about. And I have to say, well, you're still using Google. You have to pull yourself away from Google because Google is a dishonest search engine. It changes the search accordingly to things it likes or dislikes through algorithm. And in the case of platforms like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all those platforms, they have algorithms that blow things up. And then they have people that are actually monitoring. Let me give you an example of a bad algorithm blow up on YouTube. This is totally out of the political realm. There is a channel I follow on YouTube. I love these guys. It's a husband and wife team. They travel around the world on a sailboat that they bought and redid, and I've been following it since the beginning. Now, I love to sail. I grew up in Florida, a big chunk of my youth. I love the ocean. I love to sail, all that stuff. I'm very mediocre at all of it. Scuba diving, sailing, surfing. I'm mediocre. I'm not good at any of it, but it gives me a lot of pleasure. And I haven't done it in years. But sailing in particular, there's something about it. I just can't put my finger on it. Anyway, so I follow these guys. I think it's a 50-footer, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful sail yacht. And they're in their 30s. It's called Expedition Evans, I believe. Check it out on YouTube. It's wonderful. If you like the ocean and the water and just this dynamic, and they have these 2 dogs. And I'm not even a pet guy, really, but I like the dogs. I look forward to the dog thing now. I'm watching it the other day. I go, are you guys going to take the dogs to the beach? Are you going to run the dogs or what? Do the dogs get some of the fish you just caught? Don't leave the dogs out. So the reason I bring this up is there was the algorithms somehow censored some of their videos. And they had to go through all this stuff. And there's nothing censorship worthy on their channel. It's just, there's not even any, there's no profanity, there's no nudity, there's no politics. It's just this lovely couple that is sailing around the world and interacting with other people that love sailing. And they make mistakes and they laugh and they teach how to do stuff. It's very impressive, actually, because they're now, since they started, they can sail. It's amazing. It is amazing to see 2 people control this yacht and do what they do. And they skin dive and they scuba dive and they all this stuff. But YouTube started to censor them out of the blue. And it was a mistake, but they had to go through these hoops. Can you imagine? See, this is what's so dangerous about any type of censorship. I use that as an example. Maybe you know this particular channel, maybe you don't. They have hundreds of thousands of followers. And I follow a variety of people on YouTube, mostly for that. Like I follow this car guy on YouTube. I follow these people that hunt alligators on YouTube because I just think that's a cool thing, hunting alligators. But don't think for a minute that YouTube, whether it's intentional or not, is going to stop at just political stuff. And when you look at things like Facebook and Twitter, and when you look in 2016, when the major platforms really started to take out conservatives and slow down the what do you call it? The news cycle, or disconnect the share, cut off the share feature, or all these different things they did toward people that they disagreed with. And YouTube was open about it. They were completely open. They said, we cannot let Trump win. So let's not go out of our way to, but make sure we help Hillary. So don't just think it's Ken Matthews talking about the vaccine and he's out. No, it could be anybody. If the algorithm is just a little bit off, and think about it, algorithms don't understand sarcasm. They don't understand laughter. Machines don't do this. And this is the problem with violating the First Amendment and violating our constitutional rights. So if you want to shut down free speech 1,000%, you just keep putting Democrats in power because they want to control everything. They want to control every single platform. Anyway, if you are a fan of Expedition Evans, please tell them I plug their show, and all I want is one of those smoking cool t-shirts. That's it. Nothing else. I don't, but I'm a big fan. All right, let's jump over to, that was my big Gab plug. And I wanted to get that out there because, again, people sometimes are afraid to make that jump. Oh, I've been on Twitter for so long, and I don't know if I want to go over to Truth Social or Getter or whatever, right? And eventually you have to make the break. Just like eventually, as Peter Navarro just said in his new book, which is brilliant, eventually you have to wean yourself off of Fox News. It's so refreshing to see hardcore conservatives finally saying that publicly. And, in print. You've got to wean yourself away from Fox News. You cannot stay in this belief that Fox News has your back if you're MAGA or you're conservative. And I don't expect them to go hard in either direction. But let's face it, where was Fox News when we needed them on January 6th? Where were they when we needed them on the vaccine? Where was Fox News when we needed them on a stolen election in 2020? So that's why I encourage you, if you can, keep Fox News, keep Tucker. I still like Tucker a lot, Laura Ingraham and others, but put them in your rotation, but put them in the aggregate of where you're trying to develop your own system of fact checking and searching for details and evidence. But don't let Fox News to be your only daily news feed, because they're shifting left every day. So, and if they covered the big things, I wouldn't even be bothered with some of the Trump hate, because there's a lot of Trump hate on Fox News now. And that doesn't even bother me as much as, we could have really, hold on a second. I think I splashed water on my glasses. We could have really used Fox News during the scamdemic. Am I right? We could have really used their coverage. But they don't want to get sued by Big Pharma. We could have really used Fox News. And now, and I'll talk about this later, because there's been more developments with the election from 2020 and other things that are happening as we're 33 days away from the midterm today. So we'll talk about that. But first, let's jump over to the Iowa Public School Board meeting. So parents are concerned about the lack of the response to a drag show held in a particular high school in Iowa. To make a point, one parent held a poster of a drag performer from the school drag show, while another parent dressed in the same outfit as a drag queen. Now, let me just go on record now. I found the outfit the woman was wearing much more attractive than when the man was wearing it, and don't call me a dragophobe. I just think women are much more attractive than men. So, like, when men put on high heel shoes, I don't know about you, but I want to vomit. But when women put on high heel shoes, I just like to survey the situation. Okay? So I guess I'm a dragophobe. All right, let's go to it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the audio's a little rough, but the gist of it is she goes to the school board, and most of them are mind numb. Some even turn away. She's actually covered up here. She's reading the presentation. This is from a website called Iowa Raw, which is an awesome title, by the way. Hats off to you. It's on Rumble, which I encourage you to join or follow. I'm on Rumble as well. So let's check it out. Here we go.
So please explain to me how this 21-year-old man, dressed the way he was allowed into our school. Seems to me that a man who identifies with the LGBTQ community is not held to the same standards as me as a white woman.
So here she goes. Okay, stand by. See what I did? I'm teasing you here. I froze it for a minute because she brought up something that I've been bringing up for years, having taught in middle, public, high school, and in junior college, college level. Okay, the background checks are extreme, and I don't have a problem with it. The drug testing, the background checks, the same when I was a volunteer firefighter for 2 years in Pennsylvania. The background checks, the drug testing, the training, extreme. So if this woman, as a mom, who I would have to say at this point is a pretty cool mom, and moms are rocking it, let's face it. Moms are rocking it. Whatever you want to call them, mama bears or whatever. They are pushing back so hard on this garbage in schools, and thank God for moms and dads, but moms in particular that care about their kids. So she is drawing attention to the fact that if she wanted to chaperone a group to the museum, and this is an exact example that my wife dealt with a few years ago with my youngest. They went they went to some museum around Philly or something, I forget. And she put herself on the list to, I'll chaperone. Okay, I'll chaperone. Did you get your background check yet? What? Oh, you have to have a criminal background check to chaperone. But do you have to have a criminal background check to be a 40-year-old hairy dude dressed like a lady in high heels with your hairy legs hanging out and your makeup? No. You can just walk right into the library and you can invite young children to sit on your lap as you read stories to them. So there's a real problem here. So she took the picture of the adult male dressed as a woman, which is totally acceptable to, I would say, too many morons on the left. That should not be acceptable in our schools. And then the liberals say, well, who are you to say what's acceptable or not? I'm not. If you're 18 years old and you want to strut around dressed like a woman and you want to, whatever you want to do, if you want to hang out, and let me use a different term than hang out, but if you want to go to gay bars and transgender and dress up and swing from chandeliers and stuff, that's awesome. Stay the hell out of the schools. Stay away from the kids because it's grooming. It's grooming is what it is. So she took the exact outfit that the guy was wearing. Obviously, hers fits better. And she showed up, and then she gave her presentation in it. And it's so funny because some of these wusses up here were like, oh, my God, that's so offensive. I can't even look. Oh, my gosh.
I want to know, does this outfit make you turn your head? Does this outfit seem appropriate for anybody here to see? Because if this makes your head turn, if this pisses you off, then it should. Because this guy walked into our school doing the exact same thing.
Can you dress the one person?
This is what the man dressed like in front of our kids. So this makes your head spin. This pisses you off in any way, shape, or form. It should. Because I'm embarrassed to stand here in the outfit that I am today, but I have a point to prove, and that is that this outfit should not be ever accepted in our schools anyway.
And she is doing just that. She is making the point. She is making the point. And she may win the award as the coolest, or out in Iowa, the most badass mom. She is making her point. Because what are these people doing? Kimberly, could you please cover up? Kimberly, there's no need. No, there's every need for this because there's a level of ignorance. And let me point out, if I may, look at this outstanding involvement and participation in the meeting. Where is everybody? Where are all the parents? What the hell has to happen in our schools before every chair is full at a school board meeting? What has to go on? It's amazing.
And unless you guys make a policy that prohibits a child from walking to our school dressed this way, an adult from walking, parents do the same thing, an adult can get snuck through the back door and let in to do another performance like this unless you make a policy to stop it today. And this is what we need to do. We need to come together as a community and stop what shit is happening, what's happening in our schools. This guy had no background check. Because he did, and you guys know this.
Okay, so the audio is a little hard to listen to at that point. It's hard to distinguish. So I'm gonna put this on my Gab page for you to see, or you can just Google it. I'm sure this will go viral. This will go viral. It'll be viral, and the left will be all offended by it. And that's the funniest thing. The left will be offended by that. They'll be offended by that. While the kids listen to pop music and rap music, which tells them how to treat their vagina in a song form. Or they listen to rap music that tells them how to treat their girlfriend if she's not doing such and such, or how to shoot police. So the whole fake offended crap from the left is just, it's old now. It's old. And I told you they would keep pushing this. The left would keep pushing, and they are. They continue to push. They push, push, push. They're not backing off. You think Virginia was a huge win politically and culturally at that, and those handful of schools, and what they did in Virginia. People just rose up and turned the tide in Virginia because of this stupidity going on in the schools. Not just critical race theory, but all this sexual indoctrination with children. And now you're going to see people, you'll see panels on the Sunday news shows. I bet you there'll be a panel on CNN. Well, Steve, do you think Kimberly went too far? Well, you know, obviously she's not a good mom because she would. But the reality is, no, Kimberly didn't go too far. She was wearing the equivalent of a one-piece swimsuit and black boots. Because I saw it. I did the research. But the person that went too far are the adult men and women that come into your kid's school and sexualize your children. They make fun of you. They make fun of your Christianity. They make fun of your culture. And they encourage your children to behave as if they're 30-year-old men visiting Soho for the first time. And we can't get Democrats to wake up about that. And we've been listening to this garbage now for more than a decade. When a parent like me, because 10 years ago my youngest was 8, when a parent like me says, you shouldn't be teaching that garbage to my kid. Keep the sexuality garbage out, and keep the politics out, and keep the climate crisis telling my 10-year-old that the world's going to be underwater in 20 years. Shut up and just teach him reading, writing, and arithmetic. And now it just gets worse and worse and worse. And I remember, like many conservatives, we get labeled as some type of phobe, or, you know, well, you're violating their civil rights if you don't let the man wear panties and high heel shoes and invite your 9-year-old to sit on his knee to be read to. No, I'm not. I'm trying to stop crime. So wake up. Wake up, people. Please. All righty. A lot of you may recognize this guy. So it does look like he is running in 2024. It's starting to look like that. It hasn't been official, but I think it's starting to look like that. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, Dick Morris confirmed that Hillary is probably going to run. So we're going to have a rematch, the Thrilla in Manila, or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, Rocky 17. It's going to be a rematch. And I certainly don't fault Trump for wanting to get back in and finish what he started, since I believe he had a second term stolen from him. But wow, you know what it is? The people that surround Hillary, they just are so afraid of her. Now, I don't know if they're just afraid because she gets angry at them and is very abusive verbally, which is fact, according to a lot of people, or they're just afraid they're going to get killed. I don't know what it is. I don't understand why someone doesn't tell Hillary. Why didn't Bill Clinton say, Hillary, would you just sit down and shut the F up, okay? Shut up. But everybody's afraid of Hillary. So this doddering old bag of a leftist who's made hundreds of millions of dollars off all her little projects set up through her and her husband. She's the one that falls down, can't get in the van by herself and whatever. She's going to run against this guy? Oh my gosh. That's going to be like throwing. Have you ever chummed for shark? Has anybody watching ever been shark fishing? It's going to be like throwing chum in the water. It's just going to be such an embarrassment. And there's just too many of us now. So obviously they're going to try to steal the election again. And that's why Hillary was so arrogant and she had all this false, fake confidence in 2016. They thought they had it locked up across social media, across mainstream media, across the states, with the secretaries of state, with the governors. They thought it was all locked up. And we just overwhelmed them with numbers, which is what we need to do in 2022 and 2024. If 2022 happens, 33 days away, I'm not seeing it. I don't see how it happens. I think something's going to jump off in the next 33 days. Ukraine, funky pox, monkey pox, liberal pox, something's going to jump off, and they're going to have to say, well, we won't be able to do it right now. But don't you worry, Republicans. You'll get your chance to vote fairly someday. All right. Here's Trump.
Call them the fake vote store. That's the mail-in ballots. We shouldn't have mail-in ballots unless somebody's very, very sick or it's military far away. We should go to paper ballots like they did in France. 36 million people. They had no disputes. They had no anything. It was paper ballots, and it was one-day voting. They didn't store them over there in the corner, and you see the boxes moving all over the place.
By the way, this is John Solomon. I forget this journalist's name. She's very good. John Solomon, he is the founder of Just the News. He's a real journalist. And they're out there. You just have to find them. There it is, Just the News. And this is Real America's Voice. John Solomon, he's done some of the best reporting over the last 3 years on what the heck's happening in this country.
They didn't do that. They should go to one-day voting. They should go to paper ballots. And you would have elections that everybody could be proud of. Because right now, this country is a laughing stock all over the world. They're laughing at our stupid election.
This is true. Not that but first of all, I really don't care if people laugh at me. I don't care if another country laughs at me. I don't care if the news makes fun of us. I don't care. But now more than ever, I do believe we need to be respected from a political and military standpoint and from an economic standpoint. And in 2 years, Joe Biden, sadly, has kind of broken all that down. So politically, militarily, economically, right? Culturally, those are key areas of our lives and our country where people should look at us and think we have our act together, and they don't. And that, and you're degrading the military. We got a story coming up about cops. It's going to blow you away. And you're whittling down law enforcement. Now, this is Cori Bushleague. Now, Cori Bushleague, I believe she was part of the squad. Was she part of the squad? Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bushleague. And here she is. Now, when you want your butt kissed, you bring in this man, George Stephanopoulos, or as the great Rush Limbaugh used to call him, Snuffleupagus, right? Snuffleupagus, yeah. And she's pitching a new book, and I just want you to listen to the insanity that's coming out of her mouth. Congresswoman Cori Bushleague. But before, as you listen to that, I want you to listen to the butt kissing and the pandering. Every leftist wackadoo knows they can go on ABC, CBS, NBC, all their cable affiliates. They could go to any major leftist newspaper, not get hard questions, and get their butt kissed. And this is such a wonderful example.
So you got your political start in coming out of the Black Lives Matter movement in Ferguson. Why was that moment so pivotal?
First of all, it was a moment we didn't know was coming. There was no playbook that said, hey, if this happens in your community, do this.
I'm sorry. That's a lie. We didn't know it was coming. You had stuff. There was stuff in play ready for that. There was an infrastructure on the left set up for a George Floyd event. How it would be exploited, how it would be viralized, how it would be marketed, and how your party can use it to wedge more control. It's just like everybody knew how COVID was going to play out because you guys rehearsed it in 2019. I love it when they say, oh, this really caught us off guard. No, it didn't. Didn't catch you off guard. You wanted the last summer of President Donald Trump's first term. You wanted it to be a summer of violence. You planned on it to be a summer of violence, burning and protesting that turned into crime. That's what you needed, telling me that you didn't plan on it.
I just stepped out on the streets during the protest as a nurse, as clergy, as someone of the community that just wanted to see justice happen.
You're one of the few Democrats now who still says, let's defund the police. Are you worried at all that that could hurt some of your colleagues going into the midterm elections?
All right, I want you to listen carefully to this answer because the Democrats have not backed off on defunding the police. If you think in 33 days you're going to reelect a Democrat or knock out a conservative and put a Democrat in, and all of a sudden the police departments are going to get better and, funding for what we really need is going to get better and the wall's going to be more secure, blah, blah, blah. It's not. There are middle of the road Democrats, which are also liars, but they lie about the right things, right? They're out there saying, well, we need to get this police department back on track and we need funding for this. That's because your neighborhoods are now turning to poop again, all right? But the core of the Democrat Party is still hate Trump, hate deplorables, destroy conservatives, let in more illegal immigrants, illegal foreign nationals, defund the police, cripple the police, federalize the police. That's the truth. And I'm glad she answered it this way because you hear how full of crap the answer is.
Police. Are you worried at all that that could hurt some of your colleagues going into the midterm elections?
See, the thing about defund the police is we have to tell the entire narrative. People hear defund the police, but you know what they'll say? Say reallocate, say divest, say move. But it's still the same thing. We can't get caught up on the words. People spend more time focusing on the word defund than they spend on caring and addressing the problem of police violence in this country.
So that's a ridiculous answer for the reason that the Democrats, all they focus on is the words. There's no action. It's just words. Okay? Think about all the words that you and I have said on social media, on platforms, and if you happen to be a fellow broadcaster, on your broadcast, and someone has a problem with it. For example, stolen election. How about that? Scamdemic. You see, so don't tell me about the words. That's all this is words. And the fact that you want to shrink the resources of police and reduce the amount of boots on the ground in your communities, when your communities, Democrat-dominant communities, want more police. Yet here you are. Don't get hung up on the words. Well, you never answered the question. Are you going to continue to defund the police? And she won't answer the question.
In your book, you recount episodes of abuse and assault throughout your life.
Yes.
Was it hard to tell that part of the story?
It was hard because I had to keep going.
What do you hope people get from reading that?
To know that you can be someone who has a different background than what people think is, deems you appropriate or deems you, qualified.
To help it.
So I have not read her book. I don't know if I will, to be honest. But I wish they would have went a little deeper on that because to me, that is a good message in that book. I think anyone, as long as they don't break the law, and throughout the process. In other words, if you're coming to Congress to break the law, which I'm not accusing her of doing, but anybody who, because of their financial situation, being abused, where they grew up, whatever, anybody who overcomes challenges, I think, can be potentially a good role model. I mean, you cannot take that away from I mean, I disagree with this woman politically on every single thing, pretty much. But this really that is not a political issue. Surviving abuse and punching through parts of our political system that judge you on your appearance, that's not a political thing. That's a victory. And you know what it does? It speaks to the fact what a great country this is. Because you have Congresswoman Cori Bushleague on ABC, and she's a sitting U.S. Congresswoman. And do you think that could have happened 40 years ago? No, it's bittersweet for me because I'm a conservative. But the bottom line is there's no other country in the world where so many people from so many different backgrounds and quote unquote disadvantages or victims of abuse can find their way back and succeed. There's no other country like America. And it ticks me off that now that she has the power, her party's policies want to degrade or destroy the country. But you cannot take that away from anybody who's come from a challenging background and arrives here. So, and sometimes we have to stop and think about that for a moment. Because just because I despise this woman's policies and her approach to our country and our Constitution doesn't mean she doesn't deserve a level of credit for picking herself up and moving forward. And she's a congresswoman. I would imagine, I don't know a lot about her family, but I would imagine people are pretty proud of her making it to Congress, especially leftist wackos. All right, let's go back to wrapping this up.
Helping Families Heal Act, what is that?
Yes, Helping Families Heal Act. I actually worked on this bill with the mother of Mike Brown, who was killed in Ferguson in 2014. Worked on it with her because I was out there on the ground. I worked with her. I worked with other families who have experienced police violence. And just in 2021, there were only 15 days where the police did not kill someone. That's a lot of people affected that could use mental health services.
Okay, you need to check on that statistic. I'm not going to delve into how that statistic can and was manipulated. I don't have time. I think it's great that she wants to help families that are hurting. Anytime you want to help someone that's hurting, I think it's great. I've never believed the entire Mike Brown narrative, so don't think I'm going off on some, I'm a Democrat now. I told you what I thought about the whole situation, and that's what I try to do as far as being honest and forthcoming about what we're looking at. All right, let's jump over to some more hurricane stuff. I thought this was one of the goofiest responses, and I'm kind of confused about it, but are we not always confused about it when this clown speaks? He is relating to people in these devastating floods in Florida and the Carolinas and Georgia. I think that's where the most damage is. They're now over 100 dead attributed to Hurricane Ian, which is terrible. And here's Joe Biden trying to be relatable.
I know from experience how much anxiety and fear and concern there are in the people.
Why does he always sound like he's trash now? Is that the medication? And again, I'm not poking fun at people that are not well, but I mean, is that why? If you're a doctor, you can tell me. By the way, if you ever want to give me a tip or send me information, and thousands of people have over the years, and it helps me stay informed. And so if we're talking about law enforcement and you're a cop and you want to correct me or give me a scoop, I can tell you, you can trust me not to share it. I've never done that in my life. I've never shared a source or given up a source when someone says, please don't mention my name, but I work at such and such a police department in such and such a state, and here's what's happening here, and here's the document to prove it. I have boxes of that stuff. So if you ever want to, so I'm trying to figure out, he always sounds drunk and delusional to me. And sometimes he's very angry, and sometimes he's really chill. And I can't help but wonder if part of the process of propping this liar up is getting him plugged into certain medications so he can hit a window like this, a window of communicating, and not fall down or say something, crazier than usual.
I know from experience how much anxiety and fear and concern there are in the people. We didn't lose our whole home, but lightning struck and we lost an awful lot of it about 15 years ago.
Okay. I don't know whose idea that was. 15 years ago, one of your homes was struck by lightning. That, I don't care. I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less because chances are you and I paid for that home. It's funny, there's only a handful of people that can truly relate. There's only a handful of people that are in politics and or in the media that can truly relate to the vast majority of American people, especially people in crisis. And those are people that have shared in the actual crisis that they're referring to or the same crisis, survival of hurricanes or whatever. There's no way I can relate to in my life being a cop, because I never have been, being shot at in war, because I never have been. There's no way I can relate to that. I've never lost my house to flood. Had a little baby flood, no biggie. That's what insurance is for, even though it takes 3 years to get it. Don't even get me started on insurance. And I just pray that people that have been pounded in this, I just pray that they have insurance that doesn't jack them around. I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to get sued, but you know it and I know it. It's just like car insurance. See, now I'm going off on an insurance tangent. Car insurance is designed so a bunch of bad drivers, the good drivers get penalized, right? There are millions of people driving around without insurance. A lot of them are from other countries, and our premiums go up. Have you ever filed I know everybody has an insurance story. Do you ever have something happen and you call your insurance and you say, oh, I'd like to make a claim because this thing broke off and it fell down, or this thing, that's not covered. Well, wait a minute. It's my house. Oh, no. We only cover, right? Read the fine print. And they make it that way. So you have to hire a lawyer to read everything. Why do you have to hire a lawyer to read every friggin' document that is given to you by people that claim they care about you? Think about that for a moment. Why are these documents so long? Because lawyers have to make money and big companies need loopholes. Because insurance companies, they're in business to make money. Hospitals, in business to make money. Big pharma, in business to make money. And we drive around thinking, thank God all these people are there because they care about us so much. Well, everybody pisses and moans about big oil, in business to make money. What's the difference between big oil and big pharma? Let me ask you this. Who do you think has caused more death in our country? Big oil or big pharma? Okay, that's the question of the day. Remember, the letter of the day is L. Lying, liberal, laughable, leftist, Letitia James. And one more thing about Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, if I may recommend, could you do us a favor and focus on the crime and the feral cities in New York that are devastating families with the violent crime? And just take a break from trying to sue Trump, because it turned out, and I mentioned this last week, the civil lawsuit that she filed against Trump because she needed some press for the weekend because she needed to get in last weekend's news cycle. Every allegation is bogus. Trump paid back all the banks, Nobody lost money, and there was no complaints or regulatory issues filed by the bank against Trump. He just made a bunch of damn good deals, and Letitia was banking that the anti-Trump news media would glom onto this and say, "Oh my God, Trump did it again. Look at what he did with all his real estate. He's a hustler. He's a huckster. And it turns out that nothing in the lawsuit is accurate. So it would be no different than me wanting to get at you, okay, and just making something up. Let's say you have a successful business selling tires, and I just whip up a lawsuit that says, well, numerous times, tires that I bought from you and tires that people bought, the sidewalls broke out and there were horrible accidents. And it's all a lie. But the news, maybe they hate you so much, they're going to run with it. They're just going to run with it and run with it and run with it. You're going to see headline, 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 headline. And then idiots, just like the ones that think Biden won fair and square, they're going to make comments like, what about Trump? What about all those banks? What about Deutsche Bank? What about that? What about it? It was just a lie headline, kind of like Russiagate, kind of like quid pro quo. What about it? But do you see how easy it is to just destroy somebody when you can control the media? That's how easy it is. You could call the New York Times right now and say, I think Eric Trump, I think he's a Martian. And his neighbor confirms it. And in the New York Times, Eric Trump is a Martian. Now, the reason I used something that outlandish, because I knew if I accused Eric Trump sarcastically of doing anything that Hunter Biden has actually done, it could be taken out of context. And the last thing I want is Donald Trump or Eric Trump or any Trump seeing a little soundbite of me saying Eric Trump is this, when I know damn well he isn't. Make sense? Okay, great. We'll be right back with segment 2.